Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another live stream. Today we're coming at you from Mexico. As you guys already know, I'm out here in a particular part of Mexico. I am in the Yucatan. I am in Merida, Yucatan. Out here, there's a lot of changes that are going on, a lot of things that have been happening in recent years, and we're going to be talking about what's going on right now as it pertains to the economic powerhouse that Mexico is about to become. It's already an economic powerhouse, as a lot of you guys already know. Mexico, it's just growing and growing and growing, and it's becoming even more invaluable in today's world. And again, as things develop, things are actually, moving in the right direction, as opposed to, becoming a powerhouse. Because part of, becoming a mega powerhouse, as you guys, some of you guys might know, is that you're going to have a good transportation infrastructure, okay? You need to have, some sort of plan, some sort of system laid out that you're going to be using in order to make this happen. So this is a major part of what we're going to be discussing today. For those of you guys that don't know, I personally live in Merida, Yucatan. All right, and Merida, Yucatan is there's the map, and there's Merida right there. Here, let's just zoom in for a quick second. So I live right there. Some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. Again, it's just a stone's throw away from Cancun, for some of you guys that don't know. But anywho's, this is the Yucatan Peninsula. All right. One second. Let me. Hold on a second. Anyways, I shout out to everyone out there in the audience, and shout out to Lambo. We got Lambo over there. He's still on the mend. The poor guy. He's doing well. He says thank you, for all the well wishes. Thank you for all the recent, t-shirt purchases that you guys have been making out there. Again, he's very thankful, very grateful. It's helping him get through, these difficult times. As you guys know, he's going through some medical issues at the moment. But anyways, if you guys want to know how you can get your own shirt or any other similar shirt, you guys can go on ahead and check out my website for more information. But anywho's, let's get on to the show. And I just had to put full screen for a second so I can, all right, then get this ready. What was I getting ready? I forgot what I was getting ready. Oh my God. Anyways, welcome back to another live stream. As you guys already know, this is why we, like to do these live shows, because anything happens, anything goes. So anyway, shout out to Hannah's, shout out to Joseph, shout out to Waco Soto, beautiful Bella, from and who else? And Theo and everybody else out there. Been watching you for a while. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. Appreciate all the love. So anyways, guys, as you guys know, Mexico is growing exponentially. Right now, Mexico is already a pretty big powerhouse when it pertains to manufacturing and so on and so forth. But a lot of people just don't know that. A lot of people are like, well, why doesn't Mexico simply replace China, overnight? It could, right? Well, again, a lot of people have a misconception of the population. Again, in China, we got close to 1 billion people, and in Mexico, I think it's like 150 million. Okay, so it's like a big difference in population. So obviously, no matter how much of a factory powerhouse this becomes, it's still limited in the amount of people. But in today's world in which we're moving into, in which we have a lot more. Again, the new industrial revolution, which we got more robots and our artificial intelligence and all this other stuff. Well, we might not need as much manpower per se. In fact, what we might need is more specialized, manpower that can help power and maintain this new infrastructure. All right. And Mexico is, again, leading the way in that. Very recently, just a few months ago, I think it was, the Mexican high school kids, they had like an international worldwide competition, a robotics competition, and the Mexican kids were the ones that won. Yeah, that's right. The Mexican kids beat the Chinese, beat the Koreans, beat everybody. All right. Making robots. All right. And not just making robots, but we talked about it extensively that in, this region of, Mexico over there in Guadalajara, it's turning into Silicon Valley. Again, with a lot of worries that the USA and other nations have as it pertains to microchips, computer chips that come from Taiwan. Well, guess what? Mexico's picking up the slack, and they've already been building infrastructure to, provide microchips for anyone and everyone out there that's interested in that. Not just microchips, but again, you go to Monterrey, which is right on the border, and over there they have a mega power. It's already a mega powerhouse of a region when it comes to manufacturing. This is where a lot of the cars are made, a lot of the car parts are made. Steel, you name it. In fact, Tesla was going to open up a factory there until he didn't, So a couple months ago, he said he's not going to build it. Who knows if he's still going to build it? We'll see. But anywho's, so that's that's just a few places. We're just talking about Monterrey. We're talking about Jalisco. We're talking about so many other areas. Okay, we got oil refineries. We got a brand new oil refinery that's should be coming online soon here in Tabasco and Dos Bocas. Okay. Again, now Mexico will be providing high-end crude, not just for its own people, but to export. Okay. Again, the high-end crude that comes from Mexico is better than the shale crude that comes from the USA. All right. So, plus, the silver mines, the gold mines, the lithium mines, so it's like mining, manufacturing, agriculture. I can go on and on because, again, Mexico also produces at a surplus. It produces food at a surplus. So it also exports a lot of food. All right. So it is, again, Mexico's not reliant on any country for anything. They can basically, they're self-sustainable. And so they're in a unique position where not only are they self-sustainable and they don't really need anybody, but on top of that, they export. And with that said, it's been pretty difficult to get products out of Mexico. It's been easy for the USA and Canada because, they're on the border, and because of the miracle of trucking, basically, this is why, the main trading partners have been the USA and Canada, for obvious reasons, besides that they're neighbors, but also on top of the fact that the infrastructure is there for, again, the trucking industry to basically supply goods back and forth. And so, but as it pertains to Mexico getting their goods to other countries, where that's where the difficulty ensues, because here, let's show you real quick what it looks like here. Again, Mexico is very mountainous. So in this region, very mountainous, over here like in Monterrey, again, it's in the mountains, it's in the desert. You come out here, again, in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere, in a sense, and then you go out here to the Yucatan and it's just jungle, and there's no infrastructure. Well, they're building the infrastructure now. Again, this is what we're going to be talking about in a second. But what I'm saying is that, again, if you're in Monterrey, for example, and you're building cars and car parts and all this other stuff, well, again, look how close in proximity you are to the USA. Look, there's literally roads that lead straight to Texas, to Laredo, all right? And you can just get your stuff from point A to point B. But if Monterrey, is trying to ship those out to, I don't know, let's say ship them out to Brazil, ship them out to Europe, well, guess what? They have to bring their products all the way to Mexico City. So all the way up in the top of the mountains, okay? And then not only bring it there, but from there, get it on a plane and ship it out. Why? Because the ports, that they have, I think it's in Puerto Vallarta, and I think in somewhere here in Veracruz, they're not really, that well suited for export import. But regardless, again, it has to go through Mexico City and then through there. So the whole idea is that, again, all the products, that are made all across Mexico, make it very difficult for them to ship out. All this area here, the Yucatan, it used to be a very powerful area where they used to have a lot of economic power out here as well. But again, in recent decades, over a century, it's been basically just jungle and nothing. So they're trying to revitalize and turn this area back into a manufacturing and transport powerhouse. So what are we doing here? What is Mexico doing? So this is what they're doing. Okay, so again, let's just look at the map. All right, you can just kind of get it where you're at, okay? All right. And Mexico City is the capital. And basically, Mexico is very centralized, where everything that is done in any part of the country goes through Mexico City. Let's say that you're even importing something, it goes through Mexico City. And you're thinking, well, that's kind of like counterintuitive because, like, for example, look at Mérida. Look at this region. We have there's major ports here. The major port of Progreso. We got ports in Cancun. We got ports here everywhere, right? But yet, if something is coming from Europe, it doesn't go to the port of Progreso and then to Mérida. No, it goes all the way to Veracruz. Then it goes to Mexico City. Then from Mexico City, it has to make all its way, all the way on a truck back to Mérida. And it's like, what? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Bruh.
Okay? So the idea would be that now, like a boat, a shipping container, would land on Progreso, okay? And then in Progreso, basically unload, send things to Mérida, Cancun, the region, and then the rest, bring out to the rest of the Yucatan Peninsula, okay? And then when it comes to the other ports, okay, so over here, again, that isthmus, okay, the little spot here, I just want to show you on the map so for more context. So here on the map, you can look at Mexico. You see a little area here. Here, hold on. See it right there? Okay, that area, which is the thinnest part of Mexico, basically the little tail, okay, the thing that joins the tail there of Mexico. From what they're doing there, they've already done it. They've already created it. It's already working. It's already, it's a working shipping lane. So what they've done is that now they've opened up this port here at Coatzacoalcos, or whatever this place is. They've opened up the port there, okay? And they've opened up the port all the way at the bottom here at Tehuantepec, okay? And basically, they've built the infrastructure, to basically have ships land on one end, okay? And then supply the region, or simply make their way all the way to the other end and get on another boat, and then there you go. All of a sudden now you got your own Mexican Panama Canal. So Mexico has basically built, and it's already working and functioning. Okay, they're just going to continue to upgrade it as we go along. All of a sudden now, Mexico has its own Panama Canal, because look at the traditional Panama Canal is down here. Okay, sorry. See, it's right there next to my head. You see it? That's where the Panama Canal is, right? And right now, that's going through some what is it like? There's disputed territory there. There's things that are going on there. Basically, you guys, for a little quick history lesson, the USA built the Panama Canal. Eventually, years down the line, they gave control back to Panama of the canal. And then fast forward to today, it seems that China owns both ends, both ports at both ends of the Panama Canal. All right. So now the USA, all right, and China are fighting over the Panama Canal. So that's great. Okay, I guess. You know what I mean? For the people that are involved in that, whatever. But what I'm saying is that, like, there's all these people on Earth, okay, shipping things all over across the planet, okay, and they really most of them don't care about them fighting, okay? What they do care is the fact that they're fighting, and now, well, this has just become more difficult. Now, I don't want to get into the nuances of the Panama Canal because I really don't know, nor do I care. But from my understanding, it's, obviously it's older infrastructure. There seems to be a dispute. It seems like it's expensive. There's a lot of traffic that's always been building up there. There's many reasons as to why, for many years and decades, they've been looking for a solution, a alternative. And one of the alternatives was to build a canal through Nicaragua. So this lake right here in Nicaragua is fresh water. And this is the only lake on Earth that has freshwater sharks. Cool, right? So anyways, the Chinese wanted to build a canal. Okay, they would cross, they would, cut through Nicaragua and cut through the lake. Okay, and basically putting salt water into the lake and killing the lake. But hey, whatever, it's for a canal. So they wanted to build a canal through here. Things never worked out. It didn't fall through. And then in that time, Mexico is working on this solution, okay, and they got there first. So now Mexico has, a working solution, which is there it is, okay. As you guys can see, it's already since July of last year, so it's been in working order for 10 months already. They've already been receiving shipments at Salina Cruz, all the way down below, okay, right next to Oaxaca, or at Coatzacoalcos. But anyways, they're receiving shipments on both ends, and they're shipping them out. So now look at exactly where it is there. Now, as you guys can see, like for example, I don't know why I even have this map. This map is useless. Sorry, hold on a second. So, like for example, now, Monterrey, all the way up here. What am I doing? Okay, now Monterrey, all the way up there, they can build their cars, okay? Pop, this is the idea. Make their car parts, their other machine parts, cars, whatever they're making up here. They make them, okay? And now they put them on a train. They ship them down all the way to here, Coatzacoalcos, right? And then it either gets in a boat right there, and it goes through the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Europe or wherever it's going. Or after getting there, now it'll just get on one more truck, and then that truck will bring it down to this port, Salina Cruz, okay? And then from that port, now you're in the Pacific Ocean, and now you're going to Asia or wherever, or Australia, okay? So now again, Mexico's connected on both ends, and now it's going to have a lot more traffic through this region. And not just more traffic through the region, but as we were talking about earlier, in places like in the Yucatan, in like Puerto Progreso, okay, and all the other ports, okay, they're all now opening up. Now, on top of that, the Mayan train, as you guys can see there, the Mayan train map, all right, here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more to make it. How do I zoom in on this? I know, right? I need the boomer zoom, so I can see because I'm blind. Okay, there we go. I know, right? There we go. So the kids say, right? Okay, so, all right, so there's the map. So, but long story short, we're going to have ports all over the place. Now, the train, okay, which, by the way, when they built the Mayan train, right off the bat, I was like, why is there no freight? Why is this only passenger train? This is dumb. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I guess Scheinbaum heard me, or maybe they already had this in the works. I don't know. Whatever. The point is that now they're adding another line, another transportation line that's going to go parallel with the Mayan train. So they already laid down the work, and they already laid down the whole track for the Mayan train. So now they're going to lay down another track right next to it for freight. Okay, and now again, what's that gonna produce? Well, again, now boats will be able to, again, literally, let's say that the port over here of Coatzacoalcos or whatever is too full, or too busy, or too expensive, or whatever. Now they can simply unload at Progreso. Okay, get on the Mayan train. Okay, or I think that they're gonna have some connection from Progreso to the Mayan train station here. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be just for trucks or trucks and trains or whatever. So all this is going to be connected. And now to just get on the train, the freight train. And then that freight train is going to take it all the way to, again, this area. And then from that area, it's going to go out to Salina Cruz and go out to the Pacific. To whatever, to the other side of the world. So now, this whole region back in the day, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, this whole area, believe it or not, was connected by train, was connected by rail, okay? This whole region was already connected. But because of many things that happened in the 100 plus years after that, most of that train track and most of that was basically just the jungle ate it up. It was not used, and, it was a whole thing. So now, they're rebuilding it because there's a need. Now, back when they had the train back in the day, it was because this whole region, was very prosperous. Again, in the region of the Yucatan by itself, they used to grow henequen, which is like hemp, which was, again, basically what ran the world for the longest time. Again, the hemp rope, hemp material, hemp. You make anything and everything from hemp, all right? But anyways, henequen was very similar or stronger. I don't know, whatever. But the point is that is what made the region so so rich. In fact, so rich and so powerful that they built their own train to move all that material all around. So everything you're seeing here is not like anything new per se. It's just that now it's, they rebuilt it. Now it is modernized. Now we have modern trains, modern trucks, modern ships, modern technology, and so much more. And so, like, as you guys can see the lanes. So look at the Linea K. So the yellow line all the way at the bottom, okay? All the way over there. There. See it? Okay. Right there. So what's that line doing? Well, that line is going to be connecting, okay, to Guatemala. So now, again, the Mexican train, the freight train, and the passenger train, now they're heading in that direction, meaning that now Mexico is going to be able to, directly trade with the rest of Latin America through train. Okay, so think about that. So now, there's going to be trains, they're going to be connecting, basically all this southern region. It's going to go from southern Mexico to Guatemala to El Salvador to Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, whatever. Who knows how far it's going to go? But the point is that they got that going too. So they got, they're building, they've already built a good majority of this infrastructure. It's not like, this is not like, oh, we're proposing this for the future. No, this is already built. I mean, some lines, like, for example, like the yellow line, the one going to Guatemala, it's in construction, okay? The green line is still in construction. That's the last part that they're trying to link up because, okay, all the other lines, all the red is already connected. All the gold or yellow, whatever that is, gold all the way at the top, all the Yucatan section, that's already all connected. So basically, the green and the yellow are the only two things that they have to finish, which are, finishing up as we speak. And then now the whole region will be truly connected. Now, going back to like the Puerto Progreso, now Progreso is going to turn into a major port. Just like the port of Miami. I remember many decades ago, the port of Miami was nothing. Now the port of Miami, I mean, it's just the second or third most important port in the whole country. All right. Everything from Latin America goes through Miami before it goes to the rest of the country. It connects Europe. It connects everything. Okay. But anyways, the port of Miami. All right. And that turned into a monstrosity through the years. Well, guess what? Now this is doing the same thing. Puerto Progreso, part of the, what they're doing out here is that they're expanding the port to 3 times the size of what it already is right now. Okay. So, and it's already one of the biggest ports that they have out here. And that's not saying much. I mean, honestly, they really, they really needs to upgrade. It's nothing like the ports that we have in the USA and other parts of the world. So, the fact that they're upgrading the ports means that Mexico is, basically, means business. They're really, really serious, about becoming a global powerhouse. Because look, let's just talk about the tariffs for one quick millisecond. It seems like the U.S. has put tariffs on just about the whole world, one shape, form, or another. And it doesn't even matter, what that situation is. The reality is it's just U.S. and China that are really kind of, tariffing each other. And this is really the problem. So what if I were to tell you that now all of a sudden Mexico is the middleman, where now China will send things to Mexico and from Mexico to the USA, and voila, no tariffs, or vice versa. The USA is now sending things to Mexico and sending from Mexico to China. Voila, no tariffs. So yeah, all right, that's happening as well. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. In fact, if you guys want to know more or hear more about what my thoughts are on, things that I can't really talk about here. I can only really talk about Mexico here. I can't really get too deep into the weeds on other things. But anyways, if you want to know more, you guys can go and check out my other channel. I'm only 11 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers, okay? In fact, if you guys have enjoyed anything on this channel, whether you're enjoying this live stream, have enjoyed anything at all that I've done on this channel for you guys, for your entertainment, I've been useful, educational, anything, whatever I've done. As much as I would appreciate you subscribing to this channel, I would appreciate it 10 times more if you go subscribe to my other channel. Not just subscribe, but even check it out. That would be very nice of you. I got other channels. I got another channel, a cooking channel that I'm going to be reviving soon, and so on and so forth. I'm turning into a content creating machine, all right? I'm getting back into the groove of things. But long story short, you guys want to check out what my thoughts are on life, on things, and what's going on right now, go check it out. In fact, today's episode, we're going to be talking about who the new pope could possibly be. Hey, that guy over there looks kind of like me. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Anyways, I know, right? Terrible. But yeah, we talk about all kinds of things.
Bruh.
We keep it lighthearted, trying to, have some fun, yada, yada, yada. But anyways, if you want to go have some fun and go a little deeper into more of, things that I can't talk about here, go join me over there. And, again, every single Thursday, I go live on this channel, the one you're watching me on right now. And then once I'm done here, once we're done talking about Mexico, I take a quick break and then we go over there live and talk about whatever else, we got on the docket. So anyways, thank you very much, and I would love it if you join me. And again, for all of you guys out there, new viewers, new listeners, everyone out there that is not aware, please, check out my YouTube page. I know a lot of you guys out there are new out here and don't know, what I have, to provide for you guys. But look, guys, I know you guys have tons of questions, and guess what? I got tons of answers. I've already answered a good majority of the questions that you guys have already asked me at some point. So I suggest to you is that go to my YouTube page. You see right there next to the store, there's a little magnifying glass that says search. See it? Okay, so you can just type in anything you want there. Anything. Let's just say cost of living. I'm curious what the cost of living is. And look at that. We got videos on cost of living. Wow. How cool is that? Isn't that pretty awesome? Wow. Let's say immigration. Okay. Boom. Look at that. Videos on immigration. Okay. Let's say real estate. Okay. Boom. Okay. Everything you need to know about real estate. All kinds of things. So, like I said, go to my YouTube page, okay? I've answered just about all your questions in one shape, form, or another, and I've even answered questions you didn't even know you needed answered to. Check that out, and then on top of that, also go to my website, my actual website. On my website, I have even more useful videos, but on top of that, I got more useful stuff. Like for example, again, a video just talking about how to get rentals. That's right. How Mexicans and other Spanish-speaking people find rental. So again, you can find out there. Again, some of you guys need a job. You guys need to learn how to make money. Look at that. Some of you guys, have, top 20 questions that have already been answered there. You guys need a banking solution, apostille, whatever it is you need, please check it out. Okay. I got tons of things, even how to learn Spanish, look at this, even a whole list. Okay. A giant list of jobs. Yeah, that's right. For some of you guys out there that need a job, need some, how to become a digital nomad. Well, guess what? I got you. Man. I got you. And how much is all of this going to cost you? Nothing. Free o'clock. The only thing it's going to cost you is leave me a like, for the love of God. All right? Subscribe. Jeez, is that too much to ask? Why do I even have to ask these things? Anyways, just kidding. I'm busting your balls. Anyways, you don't have to do anything, all right?
Bruh.
But yes, I appreciate it. That's it. Again, if you really, really, really want to pay me back in some shape or form, and you want a souvenir, you can buy a crappy T-shirt. Okay, as you guys can see from right behind me, we got Lambo. He's a shirt designer. All right, so that's we got a Gulf of Mexico one there. That's the biggest seller at the moment. Okay, so we got that. What else we got? And we got a bunch of other T-shirts, even art. I made some art. Look at that. How funny. How embarrassing, right? Okay, what else do we got? I think that's it, right? Oh, what happened here with this? Hold on a second. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, I know. So many things going on. Okay, so what? Okay, so that's it. Okay, enough. Shameless plugs. Back to work. Where were we? All right. Here, let's put some nice scenes in the background there. Let me take some questions. I see you guys are asking questions in the background in the chat. By the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer it if I see it. Let me see. Pedro says Mexico already has the 13th strongest economy out of 195 countries, but they don't cover much about any of that in the news up here in the USA. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Mexico is it's already a monster mega powerhouse of an economy. So imagine now. Yeah, look, so the reason I chose today's topic to talk about was because the president of Mexico was actually in my neck of the woods this weekend. You know, she was here this weekend and they had a bunch of press conferences and they were, it was like the talk of the town because basically what she was announcing was that now the Mayan train, the Tren Maya, now it's becoming a freight train, a freight liner. And that was like, that blew my mind. I was like, wow, finally, thank God, amen. Now they know what they're doing. Now we're going to take this to the next level. On top of that, they were talking about I'll show you real quick. They were talking about this, the Isthmus, the all the red lines, the red dots over there. She was talking about that. And then she also was talking about how now it's all going to be connected. Not just connected there, but connected again to Guatemala and then connected to Mexico City and the rest of the country. And then, and look, I don't really talk about the rest of the country that much because my region is a Yucatan. Okay. And this is where I live and, it's what I know. But long story short, from my understanding, there are train lines all up and down Mexico, okay? Just like they built the Mayan train, very recently out here in this region. Through the rest of Mexico, they built like all kinds of train lines and highways and roads. Again, for, to help shipping, to help people, with transporting goods, people driving. Like, for example, one of the big roads that they built that was connected Oaxaca City all the way to Puerto Escondido. And normally, it's something that the Mexican government would just never even care to invest in because it's just a road to go to the beach. That's it. And there was there's nothing, no shipping, no nothing. Nothing's really, but now, with all the shipping that's going to be involved. So, for example, think about it. They got things from Guadalajara that they got to ship out. You know what I mean? They might take it to Puerto Vallarta or they might bring it all the way down here to the Isthmus, okay? Or, they grow avocados. They grow other things here in Michoacan, Guerrero, whatever. Well, guess what? Now they can just simply ship it, straight, all the way down through here. So, again, even Oaxaca, now it'll allow things to go. Anyway, so what I meant is that what I was going to say is that I don't know which one of these highways it is. It's the one that goes to Puerto Escondido. I think it's not this one. I don't know. But long story short, this is all very mountainous, very treacherous. It used to take like a whole day of driving just to get down there. And now because of the highway that they built, it's like a couple hours to get down there or a couple hours to get back. So, just so you can, get an idea. Because again, there's all mountains. Look at all the mountains everywhere. All right. So all this is connected. They're just connecting everything. Because that's the thing. That's what a thing that it was a problem for Mexico as well. I found this out when I lived here, when I started, after I moved here. But the fact that most of Mexico is not connected. A lot of it is not really connected. And if it's connected with there's like just like one or two main highways. But for the most part, it's all just dirt roads and crappy roads and not connected. And on top of that, most of Mexico is centralized, meaning that everything has to go through Mexico City. So even if I'm in Mérida and I'm shipping something out to whatever, let's say I'm shipping something out to Brazil, which is south of me, all right? Traditionally, what would happen is that my product, whatever I'm shipping, would have to go all the way to Mexico City, and then from Mexico City, it would ship out to Brazil instead of just shipping from Mérida to Brazil. You know what I mean? So it's just many, many things like that, and they're fixing all that, and they're decentralizing, the whole transportation infrastructure aspect of what Mexico is, and man, it could not have come at a better time. So, because the thing is, it's like, look, the reality is that Mexico would never ever be able to be any kind of powerhouse, any kind of anything, if it doesn't have the transportation infrastructure. Look, one of the reasons the USA is such a mega powerhouse or became such a mega powerhouse was because of all the highways, the highway system that Eisenhower built, okay? And again, where did that highway system come from? Well, it came from Germany. Again, I can't get too deep on this channel. You want more information, you can go to the other channel. But long story short, the Germans, some guy, that was in power back in the day, during World War II, should now be named, shall remain nameless, Anyways, long story short, he built a mega infrastructure, and that was the reason he was able to take over Europe, because he had this mega infrastructure. They built the train lines, the roads, all this stuff. So after World War II, we came back, and Eisenhower was like, hey, those Germans over there, had a pretty good thing going. Why don't we do the same thing? And they did, and guess what? When China was building, its mega powerhouse, the last 30 years, well, guess what? What do you think that they did when they built? Look at that. Oh, my God. What the hell? Look at that. Look at all those roads. Holy guacamole.
Bruh.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that. Okay, so just FYI, all right? How important, sorry about that. Anyway, how important this is. Okay? So, yeah, no, definitely Mexico's not going to build this because, it's in the mountains. Mexico's like Afghanistan, so it's like almost impossible to build something like this. But look, the more you zoom in, look at this. This is freaking incredible. It's insane. Anyways, all right, back to Mexico. Yeah, but look, man, no matter how much you're zooming into the USA, man, come on now. Come on now. Come on, that's still nothing. All right, compared to back home. I mean, compared to China. Yeah, I mean, compared to, this is Florida, this is what I'm used to, see? So I'm used to the China grid, all right? Or LA, right? Sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy, right? The LA grid. Look at this. See, when you zoom into that, look at that. But see, I mean, hey, man, just looking at China, when I'm zooming in that much, look at this. That's kind of insane. So, like, let's just zoom in for I'm just so curious. Look at this. Anyways, who knows? Maybe it's Chinese propaganda, right? Who the hell knows anymore? All right, okay, back to Mexico. So Mexico, as you guys can see, infrastructure kind of lacking a little bit. There's a few roads here and there, but a lot of it is mountainous. Okay, the roads are here, and even then, all right, kind of sloppy, woppy. But again, it's just because of the mountains, man. Again, here, let's just go to the mountains up here in Colorado for a second so you guys can see. It's look at this, sloppy woppy as well. Okay, so just FYI. So that makes it difficult is what I'm saying. All right, not impossible, just difficult. All right, so that's one of the main challenges that Mexico faces going forward. Again, dealing with its own terrain. It's a never-ending battle because, again, it's like whether it's mountains or jungles. A lot of people don't understand. The jungle just is a jungle. You might be able to like flat out the jungle and just raise it and there's like nothing there and build stuff, and the jungle will just just grow around it. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you are constantly battling against it. Again, ask anyone from Brazil, all right? So he can tell you exactly how it is with the jungle. Because the jungle here isn't even as bad as the jungle down south, okay? We got like low-lying, just chill, relax jungle compared to like the Amazon, okay? So, but the jungle's a jungle. I mean, I had no idea until I lived out. I've been living out here and I'm like, oh, okay, I see how this is. This thing is just never ending. So again, Mexico has to deal with the jungle, has to deal with the mountains, has to deal with the desert, has to deal with the decentralization, has to deal with so many challenges, believe it or not, that makes it very difficult. It has made it very difficult for them to build out the infrastructure that they're currently actually building. So, with that said, that's why this is pretty awesome. Because now it's like they're finally, building the much needed infrastructure that the country has needed for a very, very, very long time. Again, for me, when they were building the Mayan train, I was just constantly waiting for the other, shoe to drop because I was still like in shock. I could not believe that they were, only going to build a passenger train because, the passenger train's been in full function for years now, or over a year. And, that thing is barely, it's always empty. It's like there's barely people using it because it's like, we're in the middle of a jungle and, they built a train to just get people from one point of the jungle to the other. There's not that many people out here. So now that they said what the master plan actually was, which was, well, they needed to lay the groundwork first. so that now they can, put the freight line next to it. And it makes sense. At first I didn't understand it, but I mean, think about it. Look, this region of the Yucatan, this whole region of where we're at in the low-lying jungle, you got to remember for a lot, well, some people don't know this, but for the people that are from the region, we got to remember that the reason, okay, so this region, one of the main reasons that this region is so famous is because this is where the meteor hit, okay? In fact, literally, it hit, where's Chicxulub? Somewhere out here. There it is. There. Okay, the meteor. Okay, so I'll put a dot there. So, anyways, the meteor, okay, that killed all the dinosaurs, all right, literally landed right there in that spot. Okay, basically where Progresso is. Okay, where that here. Hi, yeah. Why does this map keep doing this? Hey, my apologies. Is it who's drunk here? The computer or me? Anyways. I'm drunk on happiness. I've just had some really good news, last night. So that's why I'm a little, I'm a little out of it today because, I'm thinking, my mind's not here at work right now. I'm thinking about other things. Anyways, long story short. So we got Progresso, okay? And this area here, this area, that's where the meteor landed, okay? That killed all the dinosaurs. Okay, all right, Jose, what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about here? Well, because when that meteor hit, basically, it made holes. It made this whole region into Swiss cheese. That Swiss cheese has here. Hold on, I gotta find it for you. Okay, but anyways, that Swiss cheese turned this whole region into this. But you gotta see this because some of you guys don't even know about this stuff. Okay, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So, look, a lot of times, people are like, oh, where do you live here? It's so hot. Well, first of all, because I got the beach like 30 minutes away. But on top of that, I also got this 30 minutes away from my house. Look at this. No. I just want to see the picture. Come on now. Ay. Okay. Like something like this. It's in my backyard. That's my backyard, guys. Okay? Look at that. So, just things like this, okay? Look at this one. Oh, you can't see that one. But anyways, maybe this one. Whatever. Anyways, but you guys can kind of get the idea. I don't know why they're so small. I think this is fine. Okay, you guys don't understand. So anyways, so the meteor landed. It made all these everywhere. And so these things are all over the map. Here, let me, so you guys can see how many there are. Look at this. I mean, and there's like zillions of them, okay? This is just, the ones on the Google Maps or whatever, but they're all over the place, okay? And what happens is that since these things are all over the place, as they're building the infrastructure, they're building the freight line. Well, guess what? They're building, you think you can just build it on flat jungle. No. As they build on the flat jungle, all of a sudden they're realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's like underwater watering hole under here. And so, sure, a passenger train might ideally be able to pass through there, but now they're like, oh, wait a minute, we can't put a freight train through here, with megatons of stuff. You know what I mean? It's going to go it's literally, as it crosses over one of these things, it's going to go into the water. So they've had to, think about that. I mean, I didn't think about it until I'm, realizing right now that's why they had to build the passenger train first. And they knew that there was nobody going to be on it. So it's going to be like kind of practice runs most of the time. All right. And that's how it is right now. And they're just working out the kinks and fixing out the kinks. And now that they laid out the whole track, now what they're going to do is parallel to that track is that they're going to build the freight line. Okay. And obviously, in certain areas that they discovered, oh, wait, there's like a giant watering hole here. We can't have megatons of freight through here. So they'll move it around. And, whatever, makes all the sense in the world. And then obviously, when it gets to, okay, because like, for example, the Mayan train, when it crosses through like the city of Merida, it doesn't go into the city, because the traffic and the people and, all this stuff. So it's literally, where is it? It's somewhere out here somewhere. Where's I forgot where it is. Somewhere out here. Not too far. I just type it in. But anyways, the Mayan train station is out here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the Mayan train station's out there. You see, it's right outside the city. Okay, but what's going to happen is that as the Mayan train approaches the area, you know, it's gonna fork. Okay, and then one line might end up going to Progreso. Okay, and then the other line, you know, keeps going down south. Okay, that's from my understanding. Because I'm not quite sure if they're going to build freight to go to Progreso. I know that they are already building, you know, the highway truck infrastructure. You know, highways just for trucks, just for freight, coming from Progreso. Okay, from the port. You see the port out there. Okay, all the way from the port. Okay, to out here, okay, to the train. Okay, so it's already being built. But that's the thing. Now, the challenge, you know, the challenge that they have is that they, you know, as they're building the freight line, is that they have to deal with all these, you know, cenotes. And look, you know, one of the things that, you know, people are worried about is the environmental impact. Okay, the environmental impact, because, you know, it's no bueno. So that's the thing too. So, you know, they're working and around all this, you know what I mean? Meaning that, you know, they've already had their issues. You know, obviously they don't want to be polluting, you know, they don't want to be disturbing the, you know, the nature. They don't want to be disturbing any of this stuff, you know, all this, these are sacred land, believe it or not. So yeah, and yeah, so it's many things going on. But long story short, this is what's in the way. So people are like, you know, it's not just jungle. It's not like, you know, we're in the middle of, you know, Kansas, you know, in the plains and there's nothing out there. You know what I mean? No, there's like stuff in the jungle. Not just this, okay? It's not just the cenotes, but, you know, there's also like pyramids. You know? There's all kinds of things like this all over the place. So there's pyramids, okay? There's watering holes, there's jungle. There's, you know, there's lions and bears and tigers. Oh my, there's everything out here. Actually, no lions, no tigers, no bears. We got pumas, I think. I think they got pumas out there. But so, you know, that's, you know, those are all the difficulties. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, why doesn't Mexico get its crap together and start doing, like, listen, guys, it's very difficult. Again, why was it so easy, you know, to lay, you know, what is it, to go out west? You know, why was it easy for Fievel to go out west? Remember that guy? Anyways, you know, why was it so easy? Because it's flat. Is mainly flat. We all know this. We live there. We come from the USA. Okay, it's flat. Okay, in fact, the only challenge was Florida. Okay, and again, I'm a Floridian. I come from Florida. We didn't really start developing Florida until like 100 years ago. Okay, so yeah, you know, until the invent of the air conditioner. Okay, don't get me started on that. Okay, and yeah, the mega boom that came after. Okay, but you know, okay, I mean, a swamp was enough to stop the American, you know, expansion. Okay, the mountains. For again, I saw somebody in the chat. Oh, there's saludos from Denver, Colorado. Shout out to Iran Mendoza. Shout out to you. Look, you're in the mountains. You guys know. You know, I mean, you guys can see it. Look at all the roads. Look at all the fancy whatever. This is from, you know, again, 200 plus years ago, right? You know, obviously, you know, it got built up as the years went on. But as soon as we started getting out west, look at that. It's like nothing. And when we got to the mountains, and we got to the desert, okay, so it's difficult. So Mexico, again, has desert, has mountains. That's snow, okay? Just mountains, you know, so many mountains. It's like Afghanistan, literally. And then they got the jungle, which the jungle is a lot worse than the swamp. I'm from the swamp. Swamp is a little bit more forgiving. But you know why the swamp is more forgiving? Because again, 100 years ago, the U.S. Military engineers, the U.S. Military Corps of Engineers or whatever. Anyways, they came out here, okay, and they basically terraformed this whole area, all right? They turned this whole swamp into livable area and agricultural area, okay? But, you know, up until like 100 years ago or 80 years ago or whatever it was, no way, Jose. You couldn't do anything out here. It was just swamp and beach. But now it's not. You know, now there is some swamp. But again, don't get me started on all that. But, you know, like basically what's out here is a bunch of orange groves and a bunch of, you know, cattle. Yeah, that's right. Florida has just as many cattle as Texas. Okay, but anyways, I digress. But yeah, that's not going to happen out here. Okay, They're not going to be terraforming any of this. They're not going to be changing the whatever. They can barely build the train without basically everyone in the area protesting that they don't want the train. Okay, so again, but believe it or not, Mexico as a country is doing this kind of by force, because a lot of people in the region don't want it. Meaning, for example, the people in the big cities, the people that are in business, industry, whatever, yeah, they want it. Everybody wants it. But what I'm talking about is that, again, as you zoom in, look at all these little villages and pueblos, and yeah, all those people, everybody else, okay, none of them want it. Why don't they want it? Okay, simply because, well, it's not necessarily the environmental, damage of the train line. That's one part of it. No, the other part is the fact that, once that mega infrastructure situation is built up, well, guess what? If you build it, they will come. And who is they? People. And they don't want people. There's a reason they live in the middle of the jungle. So now all of a sudden you're starting to build all this up, and, now people start showing up, and more people. And more people, and they start building more things, and they start whatever, and then before you know it, 100 years from now, you might not have a swamp here anymore. 100 years from now, this whole region is going to turn into Florida. All right, so just FYI. So shout out to Iran, thank you again. Muchas gracias for the $5 super chat, much appreciated. Especially during these hard times that we got a Lambo. We got Lambo out there on the mend. I almost dropped my water there. So anyways, shout out to muchas gracias, Iran Mendoza. Thank you. Very, very nice. I've been to Colorado a few times. Some of my favorite bourbon whiskey comes from Breckenridge. So shout out to you out there. Let me see. Philip says, don't forget the Jaguars. Yeah, the Jaguars. That's the Pumas. That's what I meant. Yeah, the Jaguars. We got Jaguars, not Pumas. That's right. That's what it is. I don't know. I can't pronounce your name. Silent? I think he said Silent. Silent says, I live in Denver. They actually made tunnels inside the mountains. They go through, in, and coming through. Yeah, man. I seen that. They build all kinds of tunnels. In fact, we can talk, that's the things that I talk about on my other channel. For those of you guys that are interested, all right, again, please, I'm only 10 subscribers away. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm only a few, 10, let me see how many subscribers we got left. We got 10 subscribers away. Just 10 subscribers away from getting to 1,000 subscribers. Again, if you enjoyed anything that we did over here on this channel, again, I would love it if you subscribe here, but if you subscribe to Jose and Alicia, it'd be great. But yeah, over there on that channel, we talk about the tunnels, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, 100%. Thank you, Silent, for sharing that. Spike says, I used to work in the jungle, crossing the mountains. A single 180 kilometer travel may take 8 hours and is dangerous. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. It's I had no idea. And again, I live out here in the low-lying jungle. I'm not even living in the jungle, like the mega jungle. They have the mega jungle the deeper you go in south. But yeah, it can get. I mean, it can get very intimidating, man. Live in the. I'm not a mountain guy. I'm more of a flat area guy. But yeah, man, the jungle is something else. So let me see. So anyway, shout out to everyone out there in the chat. Just reading a few chats there. Anyways, welcome to everybody. Really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, anything to ask me, please go on ahead. Feel free to ask. So, in fact, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this whole mega infrastructure thing that's going on out here in Mexico? I mean, not just here in the region. Not just this right here, but but everything else. In fact, let me see if I can find something real quick. I'm gonna put a little music where you guys chat amongst yourselves. But let me see if I can find, all the train lines. It has to be like some sort of map or something. One second. But anyways, but yeah, please, if you guys have any questions or anything you want to. Images. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there we go. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Look at this. Check this out. So yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Okay. All right. So look at that. How cool is that? So look at that. So you can see right there, the green section, that's where I live, you know, the Tren Maya. So you guys already know the Tren Maya was basically already built, already, you know, connected. But now you can see everything being connected. And then this region right here, look. The one that's right here, right next to me, okay? It says Tren del Istmo. El Tren del Istmo is basically the Panama Canal, okay? So you guys can see there that brown road right there, okay? That brown little, that's the Panama Canal region. And look at now everything connected to each other. Look at that. So all of these trains are going to be freight trains and passenger trains. So depending on the region, depending on what they put out first. So in some regions, they put the freight first, or they put the freight and the passenger. In some regions, like where I live, they put the passenger train first. And now I understand. Again, now after I've seen what's happened after they built this train line, and I've seen, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Because now if they're going to build the freight line, yeah, they had to do it this way around because, you know, again, you know, it's a big difference, you know, between a train accident with just a few empty train cars, you know, or maybe just a few bumps and bruises, as opposed to, you know, you're exporting oil, or you're exporting, you know, whatever, you know, hazardous material, or whatever, just regular freight, and now you're having an accident. So to me, you know, now I see why they did the passenger train first and then the freight train, so they know exactly what path to take. Because again, it's not like they have the underground mapped. They don't really know until they're going through it. So, and it's jungle. So, Angie says, "What do I miss the most about Miami? If anything, nothing. I don't miss anything." Oh, you know what? Maybe going to a Dolphins game, going to a baseball game. You know, going to a Marlins game, going to a Dolphins game. You know, I like sports. You know, I think that's it. That's about it. But again, the older I get, you know, the less I go. I was going to games anyway as an adult, so it's not like I missed that anyway. And I have stadiums here. I've been to games here. I had the experience here. In fact, the experience here is better. So honestly, nothing really. I don't know what the hell I miss. You know. Oh, I know what I miss. I miss. This is what I miss from the USA, from Miami. I miss the anxiety. I miss the heartburn. I miss you know, all the medical issues that I had. I miss the constant stress. I don't miss anything. Don't worry. I'm not a thing. All right. So. Oh, shout out to you, Chandra. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the love. Glad you're enjoying the content. You know, everywhere. But yeah. So look, I mean, and right here in the middle of you see the map there, you see the orange region. So that's a Tren del Centro. So the Tren del Centro, as you guys can see, it connects the whole center of Mexico. So look, just for reference real quick. So the majority of Mexico, it's funny because, you know, everybody has that image of what a Mexican is and where they live. But look, the majority of Mexicans, okay, like I want to say like 70%, 60%, 70% of all Mexicans live in this region right here. That's basically from Guadalajara. And let me see if I can zoom in as much as I can. This region right here, which is the center, you know, right there, all the way from like Puerto Vallarta. Okay, all the way at the other end of the screen, all the way from Puerto Vallarta, Guadalajara, all the way through. You see all the other regions there that are very popular with YouTubers and everybody else, okay? So you see, look, Puerto Vallarta, you see Guadalajara, you see Ajic, Chapala, Guanajuato, León, Hidalgo, Querétaro, okay? Mexico City, Puebla, San Luis Potosí, what else? We already said Querétaro, Guanajuato, you know, whatever, but all the other places, you know, all the places that people are always, you know, where they move to. Anyways, they're all here. Because I was like, oh, what do you live in the Yucatan? It's so hot down there. It's Florida. It's the same thing, you know, like some people want to live in Florida and some people cannot wait to get out of Florida, you know, like it's just, you know, Anyways, someone coming from Wisconsin, is not going to be living in Florida, and someone from Florida, is going to be having a hard time living in Wisconsin. Okay, but anywho's, same thing here. Same thing here. A lot of Mexicans that live in, I don't know, Puebla, or any Mexico City, and then they come out here to Merida and they're dying. They cannot handle the heat. Some of them move to Monterrey. Again, Monterrey is in the desert. It's next to Texas. It's literally right by, what is it? What's this region here? So, anyways, it's in the desert. And if you go a little south, a little bit more towards the water, you got, humidity. So it's hot. But anyways, in those regions it's hot, but the rest of Mexico, they don't want to live in those regions. Like same as the USA. Most Americans do not live in Miami or Houston. Yeah, a lot of people live in Miami, and yes, a lot of people live in Houston, but not everybody. Most people like to live in San Diego, Los Angeles. Nice, colder weather situations. Like nice, more temperate, weather type stuff. Okay, in other regions of the USA, they're spread out. But it's the same thing with Mexico. The nice weather, the nicest weather in all of Mexico is in that middle section. So basically, that's where they live. Okay. Most people do not live in Baja. Again, this desert, it's hot. Most people do not live in Merida, where I live. The Cancun. No. There's only look in my region. Look, just so you guys can understand. In the Yucatan, there's 1 million people living in Merida, okay, and then another million living in the state. That's it. We only got 2 million people living here. Period. End of story. 2 million people. Okay, that's nothing. That's nothing. All right. A neighborhood in Guadalajara has 2 million people, okay? So, or Guadalajara proper, what I mean? Not including everything else around it. So, just FYI, I mean, just so you can understand like where I'm at, all right, in the population. And so the population density in this region of the center of the country is more concentrated. But I guess what I was saying is that with the trains, look how much more connected it all is now. Now you could technically take a nice passenger train, kind of like the Tren Maya. You could take a nice passenger train from Puerto Vallarta, all the way to Mexico City. You could even take it all the way to Merida, technically. I mean, think about it. Think about taking a train from Puerto Vallarta all the way to Cancun. Or even, I mean, think about this. How crazy would this be? Taking a train ride from Merida, from Cancun, all the way out here. All the way, again, look at that. You can follow the line. I know you guys can't see my mouse, but, you're following the line. Take it all the way from Cancun to, all the way through the center, all the way through Mazatlan, and we're making all the way, and look at that. We end up in Tijuana. That's right. So, I mean, it's awesome. And look, if you're in Cabo San Lucas, you can take a ferry to Mazatlan. But yeah, long story short, look how it's all connected now. Now, most of everything, a lot of everything you're seeing right there is not built. I would say maybe 50, 60%, maybe a little more. It's not all built out. But like, for example, the Tren Maya, the green section, all built out, and that's all brand new. Some of the other sections that you're seeing in the middle of the country, they've already existed. All they're doing is that they're upgrading upgrading and modernizing the train lines and the transport lines. And other regions are connecting it more, adding more and more interconnectivity. And more importantly than anything else, they're connecting it all. They're connecting everything. Where before they were all disconnected. That's another thing too. Like if you 6 years ago, just 6 years ago, none of these sections or only a few sections were connected. But now today, they're basically all connected, okay? And not only all connected, but as you guys can see there, right next to me, the Isthmus, the brown section, all the way at the bottom, that's the Panama Canal. So again, you see how it doesn't matter where things are coming from, they'll be able to, now go through there. So like, look, even in the USA, so just so you guys can get an idea, even manufacturing that's coming from the USA, okay, let's say things that are built in Texas, things that are built in California or grown in California, whatever it is, right? Some things will ship out, out of LA. They have a, ginormous port there. But let's say things that are in Texas, where are they going to really kind of ship out? They're kind of stuck if they want to go, they want to go west. Something from Texas, would have to literally, get on a train or get on a truck and go all the way to Los Angeles, and then from Los Angeles be shipped out. But with the whole tariff thing, now, many things will be built in the USA and they'll be able to get shipped through Mexico, okay? And now shipped through the Mexican Panama Canal, all right? And now out on their way, out they go. So I don't know. I only see this as like a major, important, infrastructure project. It's a mega monster project that's going to make sure that the Mexican economy is strong and remains strong for many, many decades to come, for a very long time to come. And obviously, again, the USA is going to be heavily reliant on those shipping lanes and everything that Mexico's created. Look, guys, again, the things that I talk about on my other channel, but I don't talk about here because, again, we're talking about Mexico here. But some of the, most powerful countries in the world, okay, and some of the most, influential countries in the world, okay, they're basically make a lot of their money because they're the trade route. They're right in the middle, okay. And there's a reason why the USA is out here in the middle of nowhere, okay. We're not out there to go get some oil. We got plenty of oil where we're at, okay. It's because, all the shipping lanes that go through there, and again, you guys can figure out the rest on your own. So it's kind of like the same thing here. Now if all of a sudden, Mexico becomes an a transportation hub powerhouse. I mean, think about it. It's right in the middle. I mean, because again, look at this. People oftentimes forget South America. South America is a powerhouse, guys. Brazil is a mega powerhouse. Argentina is a powerhouse. All these other countries are becoming powerhouses, all right, in their own respect. And Mexico's, believe it or not, the king, the daddy, the one that is most of Latin America chooses Mexico as a de facto leader. Okay, so now think about it. How much more control they're gonna have, in the sense of like, how now, all these Latin American countries will be more reliant on Mexico as opposed to like the USA or China. So. Yeah. So, to me, it's like, I see a lot of great things coming for everything south of the border, from Mexico south. And, again, look how close Africa is. Everyone always is like, oh, my God, they're so far away and yada, yada, yada. Again, things that I talk about on my other channel. But, look how close they are. They're not that far away, guys. Okay, for us to think that, Christopher Columbus was the first guy to make it out here, you got to be really... Anyways, you've been drinking a little bit too much of that syrup or whatever it is. But anyways, long story short, for a long time, for centuries, okay? They've been doing trade and connected. So imagine now, okay, with all this mega infrastructure they're building, everything they're building, again, Latin America becoming bigger. Oh, sorry. Did I freeze this? Oh, what did I do here? Oh, no, I don't know. Wait, hold on a second. There you go. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But anyways, now as, again, South America becoming a mega powerhouse, and now that Africa, don't get me started on this, but Africa's becoming another mega powerhouse, okay? All at the same time while Europe is falling, America's falling, Canada's falling, the West is falling. And, this region of the world is becoming mega strong. Come on, guys. I don't know what to say. All right. If you don't know anything about this, you're not paying attention, So these are the things you should be paying attention to. Okay. It's how this region of the world is now going to become. It's already there. It's going to become the next mega powerhouse. Okay. Because right now, again, the West is falling, and sure, everyone's looking at Asia, but everyone's leaving behind. Again, look, Asia, look, China right now, again, their population is basically going into the tanker, okay? You're looking at Russia, you're looking at Europe, you're looking at the USA, they're having population declines. Sure, there's immigrants that are being imported to change that around, but there's a problem there. But when you go to, like, again, Latin America, and you go to Africa especially, come on, they're still popping out like 10 kids per person there, So, I'm telling you, man. We are in for a wild ride these next 100 years. Let's just let's see how long we can stay alive to see the insanity. All right. But again, just going back to Mexico for one quick second. Mexico, I mean, yeah, they know what's coming. They're not they're not going to be left behind. I mean, why isn't the USA doing something like this? Shouldn't we be upgrading our grid? Shouldn't the USA be upgrading, the power grid, the water grid, the train grid, the everything grid? Shouldn't we be doing that? Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, Just Me says, Jose, what are you smoking? Kick down. What am I smoking? Actually, nothing right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're just listening to me. But if you're watching me, you can see that I'm actually smoking nothing. Have I taken an edible? Maybe. But I probably didn't, though, because I'm doing a live stream here. Maybe after the show. But nothing now. I should do a show like that, you know what I mean? Like, right now, once that stuff becomes legalized 100% out here, I'll do a little segment. What is Jose smoking today? And I'll show you guys. Today we're smoking some tobacco from the region of blah blah blah. Right? Tobacco, right? That's what you're talking about, right? Right. Anyway, so Brandon says, "Oh, shout out to Brandon." So he says he can't figure out how to dig a well. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Let me see. Any comments? All right. I think that's it. Oh, okay. We got Memo say, "Hey Jose, I'm going to Mexico at the end of May. I'm between Puerto Vallarta and Mérida. Do you have any sites or places you recommend to find rentals in Mérida?" Yeah, I do. It's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Again, go to my website. On my website. Okay, you're going to find right on the home page. This is the home page. As soon as you go to my website here, I'll leave a link in the chat. There's also links down below and everywhere. But anyways, right there, where it says all the way at the top, okay, where it says Mexico General Information, right there, first video you're going to see says how to find local rentals and websites. And this is all of Mexico, okay? So you can watch that video. And it'll show you how you can find rentals in any part of Mexico, okay? And if you need a job, I also made a video on how to find a job, okay? Okay, not only made a video, I got a whole page with all kinds of jobs, okay? I don't want to hear excuses. I'm that dude. Everyone's out there trying to sell you packages and sell you this and sell you that and hold your hand. And listen, I'm not about that. I come from a different world, okay? I come from the world that's like you gotta, if you need someone to hold your hand, you're not going to make it. It's not going to work, all right? So don't even waste your money, all right? Don't even waste your time. I'm the kind of dude that's like, hey, I give you all the tools, and if you can figure it out, then yeah, you'll thrive out here. You'll love it out here. But if you can't even figure out the basics of like even sending an email, yeah, because I get people, hit me up all the time, sending me messages, through all these apps, and I'm like, listen, man, I tell everybody, and it's on my website, email me. That's the only way I'm going to talk to you. Email or in the comment section of my video. That's it. If you can't even send me a simple email, you can't follow directions. I can't help you. I can't help you. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not here to take your money. All right. If you just want to throw your money away, please just donate it. Okay, donate it to me. I also have links on my website so you can throw your money away. You can send it to me, okay? You can help support the show, all right? You can very easily, throw your money away, all right? In fact, you can even shop, okay? You can throw your money away by buying a T-shirt, okay? It's another great way you can help support the show, all right? But yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah, no, dude. So Jan says, "Am I retired?" Oh, Chloe, you're asking Chloe if she's retired. Well, Chloe says, Chloe's asking me, can I retire? Oh no, so can I hire you for a tour of Mérida? No, I don't do tours. How about this? Yes, you can technically hire me, but when I tell people, yeah, it's gonna be like $500, like, oh no, you're crazy. They're like, oh well, no. Then no, you cannot hire me. Why? I don't do that. I don't do tours. I don't do personalized anything. People are like, hey Jose, I love you so much. I'm so grateful and so happy for you. You're the best. Yada yada. I want to buy you a beer. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? I can actually afford my own beer. I can buy a 6-pack for like $4. If you want to buy me a beer, it'd be great. You can go to my website all the way at the top. You know, you see a little buy me a beer, buy me a coffee. You click on there, and look at that. You can buy me a beer right now, right freaking now, and I'll drink it. Buy me a beer, I'll drink it on air. Come on, you know. So you can definitely, you know, buy me a beer. You can definitely, you know, help out the show. You know, there's many things you can do. But yeah, no, like I'm telling you, I don't do tours. I don't help anybody find rentals. I don't help anybody with nothing. You know why? Because the main reason I moved to Mexico was to be left alone. I know. This is kind of crazy coming from somebody that garners so much attention. All right. The fact that my mom didn't give me enough attention as a kid is why I make videos on YouTube. Okay. Yes, I know. I said it. You know, it had to be said. Bruh. No, but in all reality, okay? Even in my former life, okay? I was in the hospitality restaurant industry, and I was a chef. I was a cook, okay? I didn't want to deal with people. I love people. I love you guys. I really do. But I can't. And so, yeah, if you want to meet me in person, well, you know, there's a fee for that. If you want me to do a tour, there's a fee for that. Again, you don't have to do any of that, okay? Again, this is why I provide everything for free. Because when somebody complains about anything, I laugh in their face because it's like, what are you complaining about, bro? You know, I'm not charging you anything. What are you complaining about? Why are you leaving a negative comment on my video? I mean, it's only helping the algorithm. I mean, leave all the comments you want. But I mean, honestly, it's like I laugh my ass off because it's like, I mean, when you're paying your Comcast bill or for your internet bill in your home, is there like a Jose Arteaga fee that I don't know about? I mean, but I mean, as far as I know, I don't charge anyone for anything, and no one has to watch anything, right? I mean, I don't think no one's forcing anyone to watch my videos, so it's free. Everything is free o'clock. But again, if somebody is like, "Hey, I want to buy you a beer," oh, great! Look right there. You can buy me a whole 6-pack. You can buy me 20 beers. Okay, but I mean, for people like, oh, I want to eat 3 or 4 hours of your time for a beer. Like, no, thank you. That's all right. In fact, I'll buy you a beer to leave me alone. All right, how's that? You know, I'll buy you a beer, bruh. But that's it. You know. So Joseph says, "Who wants to meet you in person for a fee?" Oh no, plenty of people do, believe it or not. But again, I'm not trying to meet anybody. I mean, I'll meet you guys. I love you guys. I've met many of you guys. I prefer to meet you guys organically. You know, let's say I'm walking down Paseo Montejo, you know, and you say hi, and you want to take a picture. You want to have a conversation for a few minutes. It's fine with me. You know, it's great. I love it. You know, you see, you know, where I'm at. You know, I'm at the store. You see me. That's okay. That's normal, man. I get it. But yeah, the whole thing of like, yeah, you know, come on. You know, I want to take you out on a date. You know, like, who are you, bro? You know, it's like, hey, where do you live? It's like, what? What do you mean where I live? Yeah, what's your address? What? So, but yeah, man. So that's all it is, man. You know, that's really the reality of it, you know. So, but yeah, you know, like a few people, you know, I've never done any of these tours or anything like that. By the way, you know, the funny aspect of this, the funny part is that there are other YouTubers out there that do charge, you know, $500 or whatever it is to take people on tours and take whatever. But then when somebody asks me, you know, how much would I do it for, and I say the same amount, then all of a sudden, that's expensive, that's crazy. It's like, bro, what do you want from me, man? You know what I mean? Like, you know, I cannot fix America, man. I cannot fix, you know. Ay. Actually, I did not eat an edible earlier. All right, jeez, you know, like, I'm just high on life, guys. It is what it is. Anyways, but yeah, I'm just reading a few of your comments. Will I smoke herbs with you for a fee? I'll do it for free. How's that? Maybe I'll do that one for free. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, look, to me, that's why I don't really, what is it? Like, I don't mind, you know, just charging anybody for anything or whatever, because again, I give everything away for free. I literally give everything away for free. Again, you guys can simply go to my website, okay, and on my website, you know, there's all kinds of tons of free information. There's no pop-up ads. I'm not charging you for anything. It's all free. Okay? Or again, you don't even have to go to my website. I understand. Some people don't want to click on a weird link, even though it's just joseardiaga.com. But whatever. You can just go to the YouTube page, the same page that you're watching this on. Anyways, go there and just search, right there, the top. Okay? And just search. Put anything in that search. You can find everything. And I try to make everything as easy as I can for you guys, But you gotta help me help you, all right? So please, like for example, you can click on the video section. You got all my videos there. I made a bunch of playlists. Okay, please check out the playlist. Okay, so for example, it's like, oh, what is it like in Guadalajara? Look, I got a couple playlists on Guadalajara. Check those out. I have walks. I got walks and talks. You can check those out. Some of you guys are like, hey, I love your driving videos. How come you don't do the driving videos no more? It's like, well, there's reasons. But anyways, you can check out the driving videos. Or some people are like, hey, I know you do interviews. What you gotta, yeah, great. Look, I got a whole playlist of interviews right there, right on top of me. All interviews. I got real estate. Multiple real estates. I got real estate and interviews. I went to Oaxaca. We got everything. You got all kinds of things. So again, this is just playlist. Okay? So please, check it out. Even the shorts, I don't do many of these shorts, but you can check out some of these shorts, and now again, I answer very simple questions. Okay? Look, one of the playlists that I got is where is it? All your questions answered. Where did I put it? I got so many playlists. Where is it? I don't know how come it's not here. Oh, there it is. Okay, all your questions answered right there. Hey guys, and on this playlist, okay, just so you can get an idea, on this playlist, you guys can see, I got things like, can I go to Mexico without a passport? How do I get a Mexican bank account? What else? Smoking actually banned in Mexico. These are just simple questions that get asked. And I used to do a segment where I used to just answer questions. Okay. Okay. So yeah, please, dating in Mexico. It's a popular one. How to spend how to spend your time wisely on a scouting trip. Can you drive a U-Haul to Mexico? How to get your, all kinds of things. You know what I mean? Whatever. How to get your papers, But anyway, so yeah, please check it out. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Okay, just please, even what is gay culture like in Mexico? Can I get gay married in Mexico? All right, because a lot of you guys, ask me about, me and Jose, whether we're married or not, and yes, we're married, not to each other. We both have wives. Jeez, fucking think comedians out there. Anyways, bruh. Anyways, but yeah, all kinds of questions. So just please, check out the rest of my site. Okay, but anyways, with all that said, I gotta go. I just realized what went long today, and I got another show I gotta do. All right, so please, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, you enjoyed today's content, okay? You really had fun with me today, and you really want to pay me back, all right? You want to really do me a favor, and I will be very, very happy if you did this for me. Go to my other channel and subscribe. I'm only 9 subscribers away. All right, please, let's get to 1,000. Let's do it. We got to get to 1,000. Look at, shout out to Joseph out there with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Very nice of you. But please go check it out over there. In fact, today we're gonna be talking about the Pope. I'm gonna be talking about a new Pope. All right, it might be me. Who knows? See, apparently I'm in the running. I didn't know that. It didn't even tell me. I got literally a letter from the Vatican the other day saying, hey, we need you to turn in your paperwork, because you're in the running for the new Pope. And I'm like, really? I am? I'm like, yeah, you are. You are. So who knew, right? Who knows that, holy, I thought it was more like, holy shit. Anyway, so, all right, guys. So let me see. I think that's it. I think we're done here. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys. Again, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to the other channel. Thank you so much for subscribing here. Thank you so much for everything, period. Love you guys. I think that's it. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm reading some of the comments like, oh, you're acting very weird today. No, man, I'm just very happy today. I don't know why, what weird in what sense, but, hey, whatever. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, as long as you guys are watching, it don't matter. I'm weird anyway, all right? I'm a weirdo. So it is what it is. Anyways, I really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes, all right? On the other channel, all right? Love you guys. Have a good one. And see you. Oh, I got a special video on Sunday. So see you guys here on Sunday. I got a special video with the kids on Sunday. We got another video on Tuesday. I'll see you guys here for a live stream on Thursday. Okay, so you already know we're dropping 3 a week now. All right, love you.